Good morning. Welcome back to English time. Have you read the first portion of the lesson? Okay. And have you got an idea about the profile of AJ Cronin? Yes, you have got it. Very good. So, writing profile of a writer is a sure question in the public examination. You will get 6 marks for that question. Sometimes it may reduce into 5. So whatever it may be, 5 or 6 mark question will be there in the public examination. So you must have an idea how to write a profile. All hints will be given. You just want to make it these all hints into a sentence. At least 5 sentences are needed in this profile writing. So as you know, in all classes, when I start a new lesson, I tell you to write the profile of that writer or poet to get a clear idea about how to write a profile. Okay, so in that profile, you will start with the name of that writer, and he will be famous as dash dash. Then he was born in the year of that birth you can write. Then death date also you can write. Then you can write about the early childhood and his education, then his special areas where he was famous, or where he is famous, and his notable works and awards won by the writer or poet. Then in conclusion, you can write his death year. If he is alive, you can write he is working in this particular field now. So in that way, you can get at least 5 sentences. So it is very important to study how to write a profile of an author or a poet. Okay. So come back to the lesson. The best investment I ever made, written by AJ Cronin, who is explaining one of the incidents in his life. So he himself comes here as a character. So he is the doctor explained in this story. So he was doing his casual work. So somebody was observing him, and that person was hesitated to come forward and speak with AJ Cronin. And at first he did not mind him, but after one day the unknown person continued observing this person. So third day also he observed. So fourth day, actually it was a big problem for whom? AJ Cronin. Why? Because he wanted to talk with him and he wanted to know what was the purpose of that person on observing him. Okay, so luckily that unknown person's wife, means Mrs. Jones, who compelled her husband Mr. Jones to come forward and speak with our author. So there we stopped. So come back to the lesson. At a moment later, I was occupying the vacant chair beside them. So at a moment later, so AJ Cronin invited that two persons, the two Mrs. Johnson and Mr. Johnson for a talk. So he occupied a vacant chair beside whom, beside that, yes, this Mrs. Jones and Mr. Jones. Haltingly, it's a new word. So you have to write down these meanings of these all new words which will be discussed in the lesson. Okay, so haltingly means what? Stopping and starting often, because you are not certain or not very confident. So here, who is haltingly, he told me that this had been their first visit to America. So haltingly, with a stop, and he resumes. So because what, he was not confident. If you are very confident, the sentences will flow from our mouth. But here there is a problem, hesitation in his mind. So he started and stopped, then again spoke something, then stopped. So in that way, that is what haltingly. Haltingly, who he means here, Mr. Jones. He started. And he said that it had been their first visit to America. So he said, this is the first time we go to, yes, where America. It was not entirely a holiday trip. European countries and American countries, people, they have such a habit of visiting distant places in the last months of or in the holidays, last months of this year, or they will have a summer holidays, or they will select a particular month in the last of that year, and they will go to visit distant places, and that is a habit of their life. We also go for tours. We go to nearby places, but they go to distant places. So here Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they go to a trip, and which is not not only a pleasure trip, but also it is very important. What is the importance of that particular travel or that visit or trip? They had been making a tour of the New England states, inspecting many of the summer recreational camps for young people there. So what was the purpose of Mr. and Mrs. Jones to visit America? It was not entirely a holiday trip. They had been making a tour of the New England states. New England states means, yes, one of the states in America. Many people from England migrated to America, and they settled there, and they gave names for the places in America. That is what quite related with the names in England. So New England means, yes, it is in America. So they had been visiting New England for what? Inspecting many of the summer recreational camps for young people there. So many recreational camps are there. Yes, what for time passing, for entertainments. Camps were set up in New England. So this Mrs. Jones and Mr. Jones, they were going to visit that place. Afterwards, they had visited settlements houses in New York and other cities to study the methods employed in dealing with cases of backward, maladjusted and delinquent youths. So, afterwards, after visiting were New England, summer recreational camps in New England, yes, they resumed their journey to where they visited were settlements houses in New York, this also in America, and other cities to study the methods employed in dealing with the cases of backward, Maladjusted. Maladjusted means having mental and emotional problems that led to unacceptable behavior. So because of emotional and mental problems, some people will behave in a bad way. If there is any problem in their family, or if they have any problem in the place where they are living, their behavior will be different. So such places, such people residing in some places in New York, so they visited those places. Backward people, so educational level and financial level or backward level people were there, those people. And also delinquent youth. Delinquent means showing a tendency to commit crimes. Some people were there in America at that time, they were showing signs of what? Committing suicide. So those people were sent to these houses or these departments. So cases of what? Backward, maladjusted. Backward means financially and educationally and totally they were backward in the society. And maladjusted means I told you what? Emotionally and mentally they faced some problems, and that's why they behaved in a unexpected manner. So such people, such young people. And delinquent youth means those young people, they had a tendency to commit suicide. These types of people were resided in a particular building under the observation of government. So these places also visited by whom? This Mrs. and Mr. Jones. So if we are going for an entertainment, if it is a pleasure trip, we will never go to these type of places. Where will you go? Yes, we will go to naturally beautiful places, or water theme parks and or beach, whatever it may be, there we will go. But here these two members, they were spending much of their time after reaching there in America to visit these types of places, which means that is very important. They were working for these types of poor people, or these types of people who are suffering many problems in their life. Okay, then now you got an idea about the works done by whom? This Mrs. and Mr. Jones. Then now from this we can understand he is a gentleman. Then why didn't he come forward and speak with A.J. Cronin? Yes, they are professionally, they are maybe they may be doing other work that will be discussed in the next paragraph, but they work for the poor, backward, maladjusted, delinquent youth, not only in their country but also they go to work, they go to America and they visit there, which means what? They are doing good thing. Then why didn't he come forward and speak with A.J. Cronin? That doubt will be there still in your mind. So let us find out more about these two members. There was in his voice and manner, indeed in his whole personality, a genuine enthusiasm that was disarming. Disarming means what? Making people feel less angry or suspicious than they were before. So disarming means making people what? Yes, less angry and confused, suspicious. At first, A.J. Cronin also got a doubt. Why was he observing him? Why didn't he come forward and speak with me? He stands somewhat far away and observing A.J. Cronin, and it was a disturbance to him. Everybody knows it. So why did he behave like this? He thought it like that. And but when he heard about his works, A.J. Cronin got a doubt. Why? Then after getting an idea about his works and all, that suspicion disappeared from his mind. That is what he is saying. But there was in his voice and manner, indeed, in his whole personality, and in his voice and the manner, in each and everything, but a genuine enthusiasm was there for him, and that was disarming, means that was not making any suspicion, or if there is any suspicion, it will removed from the mind of whom? Yes, A.J. Cronin. I found myself liking him instinctively. After talking with Mr. Johnson for some time, that suspicion or doubt in the mind of whom, yes, A.J. Cronin was disappeared. And moreover, he found himself liking that person, that unknown person, that Mr. Johns, instinctively. Instinctively means heartfelt, liking, or he liked him heartfully, because his manner was in such a way. Questioning him further, I learned that he and his wife had been active for the past 15 years in the field of youth welfare. Then A.J. Cronin asked some more doubts to get a clear idea about their work in the previous years. So from that they answered for that questions. From that answers, who understood? Yes, A.J. Cronin understood that he was these two members, Mr. Jones and Mr. Jones and Mrs. Jones, they had been working 15 years for the welfare of whom? Youth. Which means no, there is no problem in their work also. He was by profession a solicitor. Then he understood. Who understood? A.J. Cronin understood that. Yes, by profession, Mr. Jones was a solicitor. Solicitor means a lawyer. A lawyer who prepares legal documents. Yes, solicitor. It is also a new word. You can write it down. Note it down. But in addition to his practice at the courts, found time to act as director of charitable organization devoted to the care of boys and girls, mostly from city slums, who had fallen under the ban of the law. So by profession, Mr. Jones was a lawyer, and he was working in courts, but at the same time he found time not only for working as a lawyer, but also for the welfare of whom? Yes, boys and girls, mostly from where? They were from city slums, suburbs of city slums, who had fallen under the ban of the law. They did not get any protection from the law. So such boys and girls were there in cities, not only in England but also in everywhere. So these two members established charitable organization, and he was the chairman of that charitable organization, who were supporting these boys and girls who were facing big problems in their life. So from this all, you too understood what? Yes, this Mr. Jones is a gentleman. Not a gentleman by behavior, as a profession, he was a lawyer, and moreover he spent most of his time for protecting the youth and children. Then, as he spoke with a real feeling, I got a vivid picture of the work these two people were doing. As he spoke with a real feeling, if we work for the poor people and these types of maladjusted, backward and delinquent and girls and boys who are in slums, we will have much to say. So these whom Mr. Jones, who spoke about them in such a what real feeling. So Jacqueline understood it. It was not a lie. He got or I got means yes. Our Jacqueline got a vivid picture. Vivid means clear picture of the work these two people means Mr. and Mrs. Jones were doing. I learned how they took derelict adolescents from the juvenile courts and placing them in the healthy environment, healed them in mind and body and sent them back into the world. So I learned how they took, who took, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Jones took were derelict adolescents. What is mean by derelict? In a bad condition, youth people who were in a bad condition from the juvenile courts. Juvenile courts, you know, if the children who are below 18 years, if they commit any crime, they will not be sent to war, they will not be sent to jail. They will send court will send them to juvenile homes because of poverty, because of what living with bad people. They might have done some crimes or they might have stolen something. So they will be arrested by the people and police, and then they might have sent to the juvenile homes, and those children will be considered as a threat to the society by most of the people. Whenever they come out from the juvenile homes, what will happen? Yes, not out. Common people will say, he is a thief. He is a bad boy. He is coming from jail. So don't go and play with him. Don't make company with him. People in the society will talk like that. So what will happen? Automatically, that members will not get a space in the society, among good people. They will not get a chance to spend their time with the good people, and what will happen? Automatically, they will go with whom? Bad people. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they searched for such children, and they, after their punishment, whenever they came out from the juvenile courts, they placed them, these boys and girls in a healthy environment. What is healthy environment? I said, if anybody sees them, some people will say, he is a thief, he is coming from a what? Yes, a jail. So it will give negative energy to that person. So such negative energy should not be discharged in front of these boys or girls. So what? So they took these types of boys and girls into work in a healthy environment. Nobody asked them about their past life. So it was, and they only talked about positive thinking. So what? So that is a healthy environment for whom? Those children. Then, and healed them in mind. They healed them in mind. Then what? They said it was a mistake. You did a mistake, not because of you. Your conditions made you to do like that. So what it may be, live with that. So now you are going to start a new life in such a way. Who? Yes, these Mr. Jones and Mrs. Jones taught them. So, and also what? They must have thought what? Sending into a prison and here, yes, juvenile home, and coming from the juvenile home is a what? Is a bad thing. So we are not good children. Like that, they must have thought. But these two members told them like what? Not to think like that. You did a mistake. You might have got a punishment. Whatever it may be, leave it that all. Now think about only a new life. So in that way, they healed their mind and sent them back into the world. And after doing this, it is not a silly thing. It takes a long time to change. So first of all, they took them to a healthy environment by giving what? Yes, counseling, positive what energy giving classes, what gradually these two members changed the mind of those people, and then whenever they forgot that past life, and whenever they were ready to accept a new life, they were sent to the world. So then they will not go and do bad thing. So what are you thinking about these works done by Mr. and Mrs. Jones? Was it good? Yes, such people are important in the society. So these two members did like that. They were given training in a useful handicraft which made them fit to take their place as worthy members of the community. And I told you, after coming from that juvenile homes, they were given counseling and they were asked to live a new life, a gentleman's life. So that is what not enough. What the thinking is not enough. What is also needed? A job is also needed. So these Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they provided what handicraft classes to study a particular job. So they were taught handicraft in that particular in that for that children, and they learned any important or a favorite a favorite handicraft, and they were able to earn something by making that particular what bag or something like that. So they were capable of going to the society. It was a work of redemption that stirred the heart. Then who is saying? Ejekronin saying it was a work of redemption. Redemption means a state of being saved from the power of evil. It was a work which saved these children from these people from evil. So great. No? So who thought? Ejekronin thought they were doing such a good divine thing. And I asked what had directed his life into this channel. Then who Ejekronin got a clear idea about this life of whom Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and they explained whatever they were doing in their life, and why they come to America and they visit America, and what they do in America, everything. So they explained about their profession and all. So after all, Ejekronin and also you must have got a clear idea about the life of Mr. and Mrs. Jones. So such people will have a particular incident in their life to start such a life of helping mentality. To start such an helping mentality, sometimes some incident will be there. Sometimes a person will be there who guided them to this charity work. So Ejekronin asked, why or when or who made you to start this type of a work? The question had a strange effect upon him. The question, then Ejekronin asked this, who made you to, or who compelled you to do or start a work for these poor people like this? Or who is your role model? Who told you to start like this? That like who asked? Ejekronin. That had a strange effect upon whom? This person. He took a sharp breath and exclaimed. Then he took a sharp breath and exclaimed, he wondered, and said, what now? You still do not remember me? Then Mr. Jones asked once again the same question. You still do not remember me? I shook my head. Oh, yes. Ejekronin, no. So You still do not remember me? I shook my head. Then, who AJ Gronin thought about that? When did I help this boy, this person? He couldn't remember. To the best of my belief, he remembered a face like this person in his life. But AJ Gronin couldn't remember this face in his life or from his memory. So what? I had never in my life seen him before. Then he said, AJ Gronin said, he was sure. He said, I haven't seen you before. Please tell me, where did I see you? When did I meet you? Let me know. How did I help you? Or how did I change your mind, your life? Here, this person is a great man now who is standing AJ Gronin. Why? Because he is such a person who is working as a chairman of such a charitable organization, and his life is fully yes, we can say he spends most of his time in his life for the poor and children, poor people and young people and children. So AJ Gronin understood he was the reason for that. So he couldn't believe. So he asked, tell me, how did I change your life? Do you want to know the reason or the explanation of that young man, that Mr. Jones? Yes, that will be discussed in the next lesson. Okay, so hope you understood the lesson. So you have to read this lesson very carefully, and also you have to write the side question answers, and also plus what the new words and the unknown words and meanings. If you have any doubt, you can dial me. Okay, thank you.